In our last lesson, we learned how Britain established the 13 colonies and how they grew into busy communities filled with farmers, merchants, craftsmen, and families seeking new opportunities. But as the colonies became more successful, something changed. To understand why Britain began taxing the colonies, we first need to look at an important conflict called the French and Indian War, fought between 1754 and 1763. Britain and France were competing for control of land in North America. Many Native American nations formed alliances with one side or the other, which is why the conflict became known by this name. Britain eventually won the war and gained more territory. But victory came at a very high cost. The British government had borrowed huge amounts of money to pay for the war and was left with enormous debt. British leaders believed the colonies should help cover these expenses because the war had also protected colonial lands. To raise money, Britain introduced several new taxes in the colonies. One of the first was the Stamp Act of 1765. This law required colonists to pay a tax on many printed materials, including newspapers, legal documents, licenses, and even playing cards. Soon after came other taxes on everyday goods such as glass, paper, paint, tea, and other imported products. For many colonists, the issue wasn't only the money. It was something much bigger. The colonists believed that if Britain wanted them to pay taxes, they should also have a voice in making those decisions. But they had no representatives in the British Parliament. This led to one of the most famous political slogans in history: "No taxation without representation." In simple terms, the colonists were saying, "You shouldn't make us pay taxes if we have no say in your government." Whether rich or poor, many colonists agreed that this was unfair. Their frustration continued to grow. The colonists protested on streets and stopped buying British products. This refusal to purchase goods is called a boycott. This forced Britain to remove many unpopular taxes, but kept the tax on tea. To British leaders, it was a way to show they still had authority over the colonies. To many colonists, it became a symbol of unfair treatment. Tension reached a breaking point. Soon, one of the most famous protests in history took place, not in a courtroom or government building, but in Boston Harbor. We'll explore that dramatic event in our next episode. Let's take a look at some key words from the lesson. 1. Tax. Money paid to the government. 2. Parliament. Britain's lawmaking body. 3. Representation. Having someone speak or make decisions on your behalf. 4. Boycott. Refusing to buy products as a form of protest. 5. Protest. An action that shows disagreement with something. It is quiz time. Question 1. Why did Britain begin taxing the colonies? A. To build more schools. B. To pay off the debt from the French and Indian War. C. To encourage more settlers. Question 2. What did the Stamp Act tax? A. Houses. B. Printed materials. C. Food. Question 3. What does the phrase, "no taxation without representation" mean? A. People should not pay taxes. B. People should have a voice in the government that taxes them. C. Taxes should only apply to businesses. Today, we've learned that the road to American independence didn't begin with battles. It began with disagreements over fairness, taxes, and political representation. If you enjoyed this lesson, like the video, subscribe to Global Tutors Academy and share it with someone who loves history. See you in episode 4.